All right. So, did you miss out? That is the question that we're going to ask during this live stream for the next half an hour or so. Hi there. Thank you so much for joining in. We're going to show you that gold had an upside breakout. We're going to show you stocks that hit record highs, and even one stock that we had mentioned even from this past Friday, how it got to just within 0.1% of our forecasts mentioned from just not just a couple of days ago, but also yesterday. All right, so all that is coming up here on this live stream by Bybit Learn. My name is Han. I'm the chief market analyst at Bybit Learn. I am seeing that yes, we are now live on YouTube. For those of you who are perhaps watching on X, right? You can also find us on YouTube. Just search for the Bybit Learn official platform. Then for those of you watching on YouTube, you can find us also on X. That's Bybit_learn. Okay, I'm just making sure that we are indeed live on both platforms. So yes, we are live on YouTube and we are live on X. Well done. Okay, so let's get right to it, folks. I'm going to share with you my screen. Let's start with something that you all know and love and expect from us here at Bybit. That is, of course, the OG of cryptos. Let's go straight to Bitcoin here. And there we go. Okay, so this is the Bitcoin chart. Again, this is the daily time frame. We're going to start the daily market updates here on these live streams, of course, with Bitcoin. So you can see, it is kind of struggling, although it's rebounded a little bit over the past, since Friday and over the weekend. It tried to go up above 88K for a while, but relinquished a lot of its gains today. Now back around 87. So, while those hoping for a rebound might take some heart from this slight recovery, but again, it is still very much firmly in this downtrend. You, of course, just got to go back not too far to October 6th to see that record high of 126,195.5 on Bybit's platforms. The good old days, right? And since then, it's been posting a series of lower lows and lower high, lower low, lower high, or another high here. But yeah, just series of lower lows and lower highs that certainly gathered a lot more momentum in this month, right? So the October never happened. That downward downtrend has persisted through this month, right? Now, without reading too much into what I'm about to show you next, there are some signs that, well, hey, maybe the worst is over. Right, so I'll give you some examples here. On this chart, you can pull up the technical indicators. Just hover over the this chart-like icon, and that says indicators. And you can find this also if you're following along on the Bybit app. Right, just click on it and type in relative strength index. Okay, let me try that again. Relative strength, and there you have it. Okay, so now this is a widely used technical indicator that, to put in simple terms, basically tries to answer questions like, well, has this asset moved too much too fast? Okay, relative, it's all relative, like relative strength index. So that you see this purple line, I have it colored purple, but it'll probably pop up as different colors on your charts. I'm just going to make it a little bit thicker here so that it's easy to see on the live stream. Okay, so look at where it was back in October 6th. Okay, this again is the relative strength index. I'll just put into text for you guys so it's easier to see as well. Relative strength index. And I'm going to make this a lot bigger and the same color so it's easier for you guys to hopefully catch on your mobile phones. All right, and don't worry, right? We will keep these live streams on X and also on YouTube, right? For YouTube, you gotta find for the live tab, and that's where you can find, all our daily live streams. Because hey, we're doing this in the name of transparency. You can always check back, right, and keep me accountable for the stuff that I say. But of course, certainly use it for your own learnings to make sure that you can potentially make better informed decisions in the market. So this is the relative strength index. So you go back to where it was on October 6th, right here, right at the record high. And this relative strength index is above this line, which is the 70 mark. Okay. Now this 70 line, this horizontal line right here, 70, right, is the textbook threshold for when an asset is overbought. Okay, that means too many buyers have come in too quick, send the prices too high, too fast. Okay, so that it needs to kind of calm down and, or what they say, mean revert, well, at least kind of find a newer equilibrium. But of course, we know about the dramatic event on October 10th, just a few days after the record high, and that has just changed the dynamic and the sentiment, the feeling across crypto investors and traders, right? So excuse me, but for this RSI, right, you got it 70, right? So that's when the pullback started happening even before that dramatic event on October 10th, which was the biggest liquidation event in crypto history, right? But then look to the other side. This is the 30 level, right? This is the 30 level horizontal line across the bottom that dictates or suggests, it suggests that, well, prices have fallen too much too fast, right? So it crossed below that threshold towards the tail end of last week, really kind of reaching a bottom of sorts here around 23 as of Friday, and it's kind of started to pull back. Okay, now to be clear, I won't read too much into this, but at least there are some very, very early signs that hey, perhaps the worst is over. None of these are guaranteed. I'm just showing you how you can use indicators available on the Bybit universe to kind of give you perhaps some clues, right? So that's one. Another one that you can look at is if you go to the Bybit website. Okay, so if you go to bybit.com, right, we have this really cool meter that kind of helps you kind of gauge a sense of, okay, what other people are feeling, right? So you go into you go to bybit.com, click on markets, right, at the top there. And again, you can find this on the app as well, yeah? And I look at the market sentiment. So to be clear, I'll just zoom in. To be clear, although it is still extreme fear, right, this reading of 20 is actually slightly higher than the 11 reading that we had just last week. Okay, and I believe I had written about it or posted about it in one of our daily bits, right? Before I show you how to get the daily bits, just know this. So market sentiment, right, at least for now, is starting to come off its extreme fear. To be clear, it's still extreme fear, but perhaps not as bad as last week. Okay, again, I wouldn't read too much into it. Overall, net, it is still, there is still palpable fear in the markets, not just since what happened on October 10th, but subsequently with the price declines and breaking many key thresholds, many key prices that people take to know that, okay, this isn't looking good, right? And that's an understatement, really. Even from ETF investors, their break-even price had been around $89,000. It's been below it and really struggled to get back above that psychological level. So there's a lot of things that is weighing down on sentiment. I guess that's a short way of putting what I'm trying to describe here. Okay, so 20 right now, but coming off the really extreme levels that we saw last week. And similarly with the RSI, I'll just zoom out real quick. So not as bad as last week's 23 reading, now about 27, but still needing to do more before this RSI can breathe a sigh of relief, right? So similarly, I'll just remove the RSI here real quick. Similarly, from a price action perspective, right? And you guys will know this. I had highlighted this. You need a daily close above 89,000 for there to be at least some kind of relief or at least something to note. Okay, and that's the only chance you can get before prices could potentially go up to 95,000. Okay, I'll show you all these levels and the setups that I've even highlighted from last Friday. You can go check out last Friday's live stream to see all those different levels that I highlighted. But don't worry, I'll show it to you again. Okay, I just want to walk you guys through these charts. Another signal or event that happened just about on November 15th thereabouts was this death cross. Okay, now this is when the 50-day simple moving average, another very popular technical indicator. Again, same thing, you can find these moving averages by clicking the indicators tab and just typing moving average. Okay, the death cross is when the 50-day simple moving average crosses below its 200 level. This is often seen across assets. When this happens, the 50-day simple moving average moves below the 200-day simple moving average. That is seen as a death cross. In other words, it signals that, hey, prices could fall even further. And sure enough, since that November 15th day, the death cross, this rebound or this recovery proves meaningless. Prices just kept plummeting further from 95K down to as low as $80,641. Okay. Now, again, this is the daily time frame. That means each of these candlesticks represents how prices performed in that one single day. Okay. And you can change the time frames in the top left-hand corner. Same thing on your app as well. You can do 1 week. That means each candlestick shows how Bitcoin's prices performed in that 1 week, or 1 month, or down to 1 minute. Okay. Now, I'll just zoom out here real quick, just to show you the context here. So if you joined yesterday's live stream, thank you so much for that comment there on YouTube. And guys, feel free to drop any comments or questions or thoughts that you may have on YouTube or X. I have YouTube right in front of me. X, I'm probably a bit slower because I got to click on other tabs here. But anyways, so if you watched yesterday's live stream, I reminded you guys about the big question now is, okay, look, we got down to almost $80,000 last week for Bitcoin. Obviously the bears, as in those meaning or those hoping that prices will fall further, the bears, they'll be sizing up these levels that we haven't seen since April. This is when the world was really afraid about what President Trump's tariffs would do to the global economy, the US economy as well. So you had stocks falling, Bitcoin falling as well, right? So long story short, this is the bigger, I think the bigger immediate question here, will it actually drop down to these levels? Okay. So to put it in table form, let me just try and pull up my table here if I can find it. Sorry, folks. Let me just go back to presentation view. Give me 1 second here. Sorry, guys. You can keep looking at the Bitcoin chart, and I'll just zoom back in while I try to pull up my... I got so many tabs here, folks. Sorry about that. So I got to make sure that I can actually pull up the correct ones on the screen. Yeah, let me try and do this one. Oh, it looks like... Tell you what. Okay, I'm gonna just pull this up in this form so you can see. Yeah, my settings are kind of off a little bit. Yeah, okay, anyway, so let me just kind of zoom in here a little bit. There we go. All right. So these are the potential scenarios that I've highlighted, in the live stream and you'll note the date here, November 21st. You can check out last Friday's live stream to, keep me in check, keep it accountable. So again, to the upside, right, you need a daily close above 89,000 before even having a chance at 95K. Otherwise, you're looking at more downside. Okay, so that's Bitcoin right now. There are many different other indicators that we can look at, and we'll publish more on Thursday on the Learn section of Bybit.com. The URL is learn.bybit.com, and we'll have a deeper look into the derivatives markets. In other words, it's other instruments and assets within the crypto space that are kind of telling us different clues. So as of last Thursday, of course, as we know, it wasn't looking good, right? At least it was pointing to more downside. And sure enough, after we published it, markets just kept tanking as well. So is there a recovery on the cards? It's still too early to tell. We'll give you an update this coming Thursday or Friday, depending on how markets are, to tell you what the derivatives market is telling us. Okay. All right. So that's on Bitcoin. That's on Bitcoin. Now let's move over to gold. Now this is an exciting one, as you probably saw from the title of this video. Okay. So remember, I mentioned this already, right? Daily close above 9-day simple moving average. This is a key event to look out for. Okay, and I mentioned this from November 21st down here. From this date down here, as you can see in the center of the screen, right? So this has actually happened today. Okay. Now the question is whether it can keep rising all the way to 4,200. Okay, that's the upside scenario. Of course, we'll see if the bearish scenario could still play a part before the week is over, and we'll keep you guys posted on these daily live streams. But yeah, so we go over to the gold chart here real quick, guys. All right, so you got this big jump up, right? This is what you call a gap up. So when markets opened today, again, this is the 1 day time frame, yeah, for gold. Okay, so you just kind of jump right up. The blue line is the 9 day simple moving average. I've been highlighting this for a while now because look, it's been acting as this resistance for the past week, really. Right. Again, each of these are 1 day price actions, right? Each of these candlesticks, these bars here is 1 day, right? So notice how once it fell below that on November 17th, that was 2 Mondays ago. Every time it tried to bounce back up, it just got resisted. Tried to break above, came back down. Same thing over the past couple of days, right? And then this was yesterday, tested resistance again resistance, right? Prices, markets were not willing to let gold prices rise above this key technical indicator. Real quick, when I say resistance, yeah, just remember, just think of like a ceiling. Okay, that means prices hit it and then come back down, right? As opposed to a support, which is, you can see here, the 21 day simple moving average. Support, think of a floor, right? So prices hit it and then bounce up, okay? So it's been like this support for the last, really all of last week, right? Well, resistance was the 9 day simple moving average. This is the 21 day simple moving average, the baby blue line here. But today, this is something notable. It's something I've been highlighting since last Friday. Okay, so now it's punched up. Whether it can climb up to 4,200, I mean, I think there's a chance. We have to see. But 4,200 is a psychological level, and it's still within the range that we had forecasted from last week. Let me just draw the 4,200 level for you guys here, just so it's easier to see. Here you go. This I'm live charting, folks. All right, so well within the upper bound of the range, the forecasted range from last week. Oops. All right, which is 4215, and then the lower bound was 3953. You can watch back from Friday's live stream. I drawn these lines. In other words, there's a likely gold is likeliest or most likely to trade within this range for this week. Okay, so even though it's punching up higher right now, it will take something really big for it to punch above 4215. Hence, the target I've got is 4200, like in the table you just saw earlier. Okay, so that's to the upside. We've got this potential signal here. We'll see if it goes all the way. Otherwise, to the downside, you need a daily close below 21 day simple moving average for it to potentially go down to 4,000. Okay, still within that lower bound of the 3953, and 4,000 works quite nicely as well, because not only is it a psychological level, right? Again, is this big round numbers. Markets tend to behave a certain way around these big round numbers. They can often act as either support or resistance. Like look at 4,200 just a couple of weeks ago, right? Hit it and then come back down. Okay, that's resistance around 4,200, big round number. Similarly, 4,000 last week, hit it, bounce off. Okay, support 4,000. Okay, so this is something to keep an eye on. This is interesting. So long story short, broke out, yes, but we'll see if it goes all the way and hits our 4,200 target. And look, folks, the reason why I keep these on the 1 day time frame is because I know that way more of you actually watch this after the live stream has ended, right? Because probably you cannot join just as US markets are about to open, and we're getting viewers from worldwide, right? I understand that, right? So that's why I kind of keep things a bit loose and leave them on the longer time frame, 1 day time frame. And hopefully by the time you watch it, there's still a chance for you to potentially take part. None of this is financial advice, right? It's just I'm calling markets and writing out setups as I see it. Okay, and look again, right? You can check on our X every time something either hits or gets close to it or pretty much fulfills the scenario. I'm posting it on there as much as I can. Okay, so keep me in check. Speaking of, all right, so that's gold. Here's one that beautiful, right? Alibaba. Now we had already highlighted this from last Friday's live stream. Again, don't believe me, go and check it out. Right, last Friday, November 21st, right? I mentioned this potential big move. Okay, because just hours ago we had the latest quarterly earnings out of Alibaba, and sure enough, right, it got oh so close. In nominal terms, it got to within 17 or about, let me see, hold on. let me do the math. Sorry, yeah, 17 cents away from 168.93. Okay, don't believe me? Check out yesterday's live stream. In fact, I'll actually show you the image that I used to post on um, X. Give me 1 second here, folks. I'll pull it up. Right, keep me accountable, keep me in check. So this is what I posted right here. There we go. So, right. So did you miss out, right? And then let me zoom in, because this was a chart that we had from yesterday's live stream, November 24th, right? Where prices are just hovering down here and already drawn 168.93, right? Based on calculations from the options markets. Sorry, I know that was a bit technical, but anyway, just know this. We drew this from yesterday, and sure enough today, boom, right? Gets it there. Did you miss out? Okay, so that's Alibaba, and the reason for that is because there's still a lot of excitement for these Chinese AI stocks. So not only is Alibaba's cloud business, so when we use ChatGPT and all this DeepSeek and all these different AI platforms, right? It needs to store and process a lot of data, which uses cloud data storage. And AI's cloud business did really, really well. I think it grew over 34%, right? And not just that, there's still talk of a lot more investment from Alibaba into the AI space. So that got investors excited, and sure enough, really punched that stock up so close, about 0.1% or 17 cents away from that 168.93 level before coming back down, right? So not only is this a target level, but look at the 50-day simple moving average. Again, that's another widely used technical indicator, right? Acting as resistance just around that price target. So, it makes sense that we hit it around there and then come back down. Okay. So that's where we're at right now. Again, this is for the US stocks, the US listed stocks of Alibaba. And just know this, yeah, for many, actually here on Bybit, right? Not only is it crypto, right? Because we started offering from a few months ago TradFi products. TradFi is short for traditional finance, TRADFI. You can look for it on the app or also on the web platform. Just hover your cursor over the hamburger menu in the top left hand corner. There's the 3 bars there. Hover over it. You can just type in whatever stock you want, or to try and explore more, look for the TradFi tab, right? Then we've got indices, stocks, metals, like gold, FOREX, commodities, etc. Okay, so all that is there. So gold, stocks, and even FOREX pairs, as well as stock indices. Okay, so check those out. Now, to get more information, right? So here's something that's really, really cool. I'll zoom in a little bit, right? So now, for those of you who have been following US stock markets for a while, you know that the official open time is not for another 6 minutes, right? 2:30 p.m. GMT now with the current time zones. Okay, but on Bybit TradFi, you can actually trade, even before US markets open. So I'm in Dubai, so it's listed in Dubai time. So starting at 1 p.m. Dubai time, that's 1300, right? You can already start trading. So when the earnings came out at about 4:30 p.m. UAE time, that's Dubai time, right? So even while the earnings came out from Alibaba, that stock was already moving even from hours before, okay, from 1 p.m. my time, okay, local time. So you check those timings for your different regions, wherever you are watching, and you can check those out. Like, so for example, NVIDIA, there was a stock that we highlighted last week, and same thing, right? It got so close, I think within 0.3% of their target as well. I think that's close enough, but you let me know in the comments if that's a win, or you want it absolutely perfect down to the cent or the slightest tick, right? But NVIDIA, we actually have it practically 24 hours, 5 days a week that you can trade these stocks. Okay, so go discover them under the TradFi section. That's Alibaba. So once again, for those of you who are just joining, I see another number pop up. Man, look at it, just zoomed in. Oh, so close to that, not just the 50-day simple moving average, but also the price target that we had before. And oh my word, my price levels just disappeared. Okay, no worries, I gotta draw it back again. But yeah, you saw it, right? Let me just draw it again so that I don't lose it. The internet gods are not cooperating with me today. Sorry folks, just bear with me. So it's green. Yep. So that's 168.93. Right. Got so close. Okay. All right. So this is the kind of stuff that you could miss out on. Right. So make sure you keep tuning in and watching the live streams that we do on a daily basis. We're going to try and keep you guys informed. To potentially make better investment and trading decisions. And again, it's not just crypto, right? We're showing you stocks, we're showing you gold. And next up, we're going to show you a Forex pair, because here's another exciting one. Let me just go through the list here. Yeah, GBPUSD. Okay. Again, this is something that we highlighted from last Friday. Go ahead and check it out. This is GBPUSD, which is the Forex pair between the British pound and the US dollar, GBP USD. You can go check it out. So today, let me zoom in a little bit to make this clearer for you guys. Okay. So again, this is the 1 day daily time frame. Yeah. Today, second best performing G10 currency versus the US dollar, at least as of about an hour ago when I pull up the data. Let me do some live data here to see if it's still the case. I think it might actually just have pipped it to become the best performer today. Let me just do a quick check. Give me 3 seconds. 2, 1. Yes, indeed. All right. So the British pound, live update here, folks. So right now it is the best performing G10 currency against the US dollar. Okay. So we're looking for a daily close above this 21-day simple moving average, which had been sort of a resistance, well, close enough, right, over the past week or so. And if there's a daily close above it, in other words, the closing price for today's candlestick stays above this blue line, we could see potentially reaching up to 1.324. That's a big ask, but this was a forecasted trading range that we had drawn even from last week. Okay, even from last Friday. Go and look at the November 21st live stream on YouTube, on X, if you don't believe me. Okay. So now that there's going to be a big ask, but also there's a big event coming up tomorrow, right? Tomorrow, all eyes will be on the UK because there's a big announcement about whether the government in the UK has to hike taxes again, right? So, but for right now, again, markets are already pricing in some of the expectations. They think that the upcoming UK autumn budget may not be as bad as feared. So you've got the British pound, GBP, rising, strengthening against the US dollar. That's why you got GBP USD going up. Okay. Right now, best performing G10 currency versus the US dollar today. Okay. Who's in second place? Well, this is another one that we've highlighted again for a couple of weeks now, right? Real quick before I go to the next chart. So again, GBP USD, we'll be talking about it again tomorrow. By this time tomorrow, folks, the announcement may have already happened, right? So keep an eye out for GBP USD between now over the next 24 hours. Okay, USDJPY, something else we've spoken about a lot as well. Right, so it is the well, let me update this, right? The order has changed. It was the best performing G10 currency as of about an hour ago. Now live data, it is now the second best performing G10 currency against the US dollar. Why? Because GBP USD overtook it, right? So these two currencies, again, if you missed out, we have been highlighting this, right, since last Friday in a week ahead, right? Don't believe me? I will show you. I will try to pull up this chart that we had drawn from last week, if I can find it. Here we go. All right, excuse the Arabic, right? But right here. Okay, so Alibaba earnings, I highlighted it from last Friday, right? You missed out. UK autumn budget that's coming up tomorrow. Okay, and there's the numbers that I put in from last Friday. I've still got it on the chart. Remember this before I take it away. 1.293 to the downside, 1.324 to the upside. You've got USDJPY as well to look out for. We've got some big events due on Friday, but between those 2 days, 27th, right? The US markets are closed. US markets will be closed for Thanksgiving. Let me go back to the previous screen. Okay. Yeah, US markets will be closed for Thanksgiving. So make sure you're aware of that. Okay, right there. Okay, so lots to look out for still this week. Tomorrow, GBP markets close on Thursday, and then Friday, more data out of Japan, and we'll talk you through some of those scenarios for Thursday's one, because on Friday it'll come out super early Japan time. Unless you're in Asia and not watching, the rest of us might have to like pull like an early like 2 a.m. kind of vigil over the data. Okay, so that's plenty to look out for. That's USDJPY strengthening right now. Yeah, 158.90 to the upside, 154.50 to the downside. Look again at that psychological level, 158, right? Big round numbers acting as resistance. Prices got so close to it, like within 10 and a half pips of it before coming back down. Okay, resistance. Think of ceiling. Okay, so that's USDJPY. Any questions for me? I'm looking at YouTube. No questions here. Let me just check on X here real quick. See if we got any questions. Well, thank you for the like, Rana. So yeah, okay. So tell you what, we're a couple of minutes over. Let me just do a quick recap. So Bitcoin here, right? Struggling to sustain the rebound above 88K, now trading just above 87,000 right now. We'll see if these incremental gains from the past few days can be sustained. It will take a daily close above 89K to potentially offer a signal of more upside. I'll be looking at 95K, but again, right, because of how bruised market sentiment is within the crypto space, because of what happened on October 10th, right here, right, it's gonna lead a lot of convincing for Bitcoin and other cryptos to really punch up higher and try to even remotely revisit some of these highs here. I mean, it's possible, but those chances appear very, very slim right now. I think the bigger question is whether or not Bitcoin could revisit in the near term, revisit some of these levels, 78.5 to 74.5 levels that we last saw at the height of the tariff angst back when President Trump made that announcement in early April. Okay, 78.5, 74.5, that's where I'm looking at. That's for Bitcoin. Let's see, gold, is it sustaining the breakout that we mentioned earlier? Well, not quite, right? So it's erased some of it, but to be clear, this daily candlestick is still above that 9-day simple moving average, right? Oh, and I forgot to mention this. The reason for not just gold going up, but stock indices going up as well, is because markets are now back to thinking that, hey, the Federal Reserve, the world's most important central bank, could cut interest rates in December. They've got a big decision coming up. Let me see the current odds right now. They've got a big decision coming up on December 10th, and we'll be doing a full live stream right before it, just so that you are well in the know and you know what to expect, right? December 10th, that's a big decision by the Federal Reserve, aka the Fed, aka the world's most important central bank, about what to do with interest rates. Okay, they could either keep it on hold or cut. Okay, so about a couple of weeks ago, or about a month ago, the chances of a rate cut was at about 40%, or even slightly below. I think it got to as low as about 37%, right? But right now, live data, markets now predict an 80% chance that the Federal Reserve can cut interest rates again in December 10th. Right, so you got assets like gold that you see on the screen. Gold and stocks, they generally love the idea of US interest rates coming down. Okay, and we'll explain that in the proper live stream leading up to the Fed meeting. But just know this, the idea, even before the Fed has actually cut, markets move, right? Again, markets are forward looking in nature. They don't wait, right? They have an idea, they act on it. So there's a saying that today's prices that you see right now, just like gold gapping up today, right? Today's prices act on tomorrow's expectations. That's how fast markets move. So you can't miss out, right? And we are here at Buy Bit Learn. We're going to keep you informed as much as you can along every step of the way across asset classes, not just crypto, but for gold, stocks as well. Okay, so yeah, that's why gold prices jumped up, because markets now expect an 80% chance that the Fed could cut interest rates in December, compared to as low as about 40% from a couple of weeks ago. Okay, so that's why gold is up. Alibaba also closed. Oh, well, erasing a lot of those gains. So, like, you had that tiny window when it jumped up, but then it's erased a lot of those gains. We're going to look at some other stocks here, like, Google actually hit this new record high yesterday. Let's see how it's doing right now. Same thing, right? So, erasing a lot of those gains. But still, we had highlighted this stock for a couple of days now. Still within the top 10 best performing stocks on S&P 500, up 30%, or actually probably more than 30% already so far this quarter since the end of September, right? Punching above oh, sorry, this is a typo. This should be $300. No wonder I thought, wow, Google, so cheap. Okay, $300, and now it's trading at 324.2. Okay, so there are opportunities across asset classes, right? That's the whole point of these live streams. They're showing you so many opportunities, even though sentiment may be downcast on within crypto, but stocks doing well, gold gapping up, right? There are so many ideas to explore out there. None of this is financial advice, but do check it out. Johnson & Johnson also has been another outperformer in recent days. Right now, actually, just about posting a new intraday record high. Let me just do a quick double check there. Today's high 206.80. Couple of days ago was 206.81. Well, just 1 cent shy away from that record high, but still holding around these record high levels. And we had highlighted that, right, from an article that we published even from back here, still jumping higher. Okay, that's Johnson & Johnson. You look at the S&P 500 now. These are these are stock indices. Okay, when I say an index or indices, just think of a way to measure something. Okay, you may have heard of Consumer Price Index, CPI, that measures inflation or consumer prices. A stock index measures a collection or basket of stocks. The S&P 500 measures 500 of the leading names across industries, right? From Coca-Cola to Apple, Nvidia, Tesla, all those big names that they're leading their respective industries. So 500 of them within that basket, it's called the S&P 500. Right now, see 50-day simple moving average, widely used technical indicator, boom, hits it, pauses, right? Resistance, right? That's what we're looking at right now. But still, it has been, rebounding over the past few sessions. Again, based on the idea that, hey, the Fed could actually cut interest rates again in December. Stocks like it, gold like it, gap up. Okay. Crypto typically likes that stuff as well. Historically, crypto and riskier assets, they tend to rise at the thought of, hey, the Fed could cut interest rates. But, again, given what we've seen with crypto over the past couple of 6 weeks, 7 weeks, right? Sentiment is still raw across the crypto space. But I've shown you signs, right? The relative strength index that I showed you at the onset. If not, just rewind to the start of this live stream. I show you the relative strength index coming off a little bit. You can look at stuff like even the premiums on the put to calls, right? Have actually narrowed. So perhaps that intense selling pressure is starting to come off a little bit. Maybe I'll show you another one that I forgot to show earlier. Not yet. This one. Okay, so this is called the implied volatility index. In other words, this index, again, index used to measure something, measures how much markets think the volatility of Bitcoin will be over the next 30 days. So today is November 25th. So basically between now and Christmas Day. Okay, 30-day index, right? Implied volatility. That means how much you expect volatility for Bitcoin. Volatility is just a fancy way of saying, look, how big and how fast those prices will move. Okay, so you notice from last Friday, right? That big spike up here was matching levels that we saw on October 10th, right, which was that biggest liquidation event in crypto history, and also matching the levels that we saw at the height of the fears around President Trump's tariffs back in March or April, right, over here. Okay, so notice how it's come down a bit slightly, but even though it's come down slightly, it's still at these elevated levels, right? If you just draw a straight line across, nothing quite matches it, unlike the October 10th event, and also again circa March, April levels. So maybe not as bad as a week ago, right? But still signaling extreme fear. Okay, like we have on the Bybit website, you can look at the market sentiment indicator right there. Okay, still extreme fear, 20, but not as bad as the 11 levels that we saw a week ago. Okay, so that's the current state of the crypto landscape. right? But there's so many opportunities out there. Do not miss out. Keep checking in on these daily live streams. And not just that, you can always go to our website as well. Uh, Aptly enough, I mentioned a calmer week for markets, right? This week, you've got Bitcoin rebounding slightly. I published this yesterday morning, right? So go and check it out. You can find all these articles by going, I'll show you. First, go to bybit.com, okay? And if you're on the Bybit app, just look for the Learn tab. It's under the Services section. But if you're on Bybit.com, you find Learn at the top menu, right? Click on Bybit Learn, right? And then you'll get to this new page, and you'll notice the URL change from learn to learn.bybit.com, right? Click on blog, and you can check out daily bits where we publish something new every day or almost every day, right? And also you can check out for a deeper dive look at crypto insights. Okay, that's the one that we'll publish later this week, telling you what's happening in the derivative space and what kind of signals can we infer from it, right? None of it financial advice, just some thoughts that we're putting down for you to then keep us in check with, right? In the name of transparency. Okay, let's end with this, folks. This is something that you do not want to miss out on. And if you have been staying tuned for the whole live stream, thank you very much. Right, and we'll see, right, how GBPUSD performs today, so don't miss out. But then here we've got a special giveaway for these live streams. It looks like Google signed me out of this doc. Right, you can scan the QR code here for a chance at your share of 25,000 USDT that we've set aside in rewards just for these live streams. All you got to do is sign up. Right, you can sign up by scanning on the QR code, or you can click on the link below in our YouTube video description, or you can find a link on the X live stream description as well in that tweet or that post. And we have the same QR code and links sprinkled all throughout our feed as well. So again, our handle on X is bybit_learn. Make sure you check out the official X account and the official YouTube account for Bybit Learn, and you can find all that info there. Right, first things first, scan the QR code, tap on the link, and sign up, and potentially get your share of 25,000 USDT in rewards. Look, I'll give you a heads up, okay? This thing is running out. Like, we could actually be ending this year sooner than you think, right? So this won't be around for a long time. Okay, so make sure you take advantage of that. But now, when you scan the QR code or click on the link, you'll actually end up on another page within the Bybit Learn universe. No, not this one. Here's a tweet that I showed you guys earlier about what you potentially missed out on. Alibaba, check it out. You can, anyways, when you scan the QR code, you would actually land on. The internet is really not cooperating with me today. Let me see. Learn. Yeah, you will actually land on this page. Okay, so the reason we say more is because not only do we have 25,000 USDT in rewards set aside just if you sign up through these live streams, but also once you scan the QR code or tap on the link, you will land on this page, and you could potentially gain a further 5,000 USDT. Well, sorry, not the whole thing, but your share of 5,000 USDT every week. All you got to do is then scroll down, check out all these different tasks that you can take a part of, right? Take part in, invite friends, deposit. You can even try out our trading bots, or even just submitting your documents as part of your KYC or know your client process, right? Where we verify your identity and know more about you, or try new products like Trading Spot. Or even if you scroll down, there's more, right? You can share an article on social media like the one I just wrote and publish every day, right? Like some articles, or even just post an article, right? We want to give you a voice as well. Just doing all these tasks can get you more points, and then you can stack yourself up against how these guys are performing. We've got 25 pages worth of people who have already taken advantage of these points, right? That can get you in the running for your share of 5,000 USDT per week. Okay, so again, 5,000 USDT per week for those tasks. For these live streams, just signing up for a Bybit account, I've got 25,000. Well, not as much now, but still, we had set aside 25,000 in USDT to be given away for these live streams. So do not miss out, not just on those rewards. We think that learning in and of itself should be reward enough, but hey, we want to make it sweeter. So take advantage of these giveaways, and of course take advantage of the learnings that we share with you on these live streams, right? If you got any questions, do message there, even if you're not watching it live and after the fact, and I'll still try and respond to you as soon as I can. Okay, I think that wraps it up today. Plenty happening, plenty to look out for, so make sure you tune in again tomorrow starting 2 p.m. GMT. Until then, I'm Han Tan, Chief Market Analyst at ByBitLearn. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you tomorrow.